In terms of PayPal's innovation, they're working on a lot behind the scenes. They spoke about some of that at the Investor Day about, what was that, 2 months ago now? And yeah, they're working on a lot of different products that sound really appealing. And even, they're even speaking about how they want to have a way that all these businesses on the back end can all have a seamless checkout experience where your account information will pull up even between different websites, different apps, and things like that to
Yeah.
be able to pay, which is a huge convenience factor if they can really knock this out of the ballpark. Because one of the things that makes Amazon so convenient is like literally just going on the Amazon app, finding whatever I need, and just one click, boom, ordering my. It's already got my credit card information and it's done, right? It already has my address and everything. One of the annoying things about ordering from random websites and things like that is you have to enter in all your information. I have to enter my home address. I have to enter my credit card information, all these sorts of things. And every step you add, like a let's just call it processes a customer has to do, you're going to lose money. And so if PayPal can really knock us out of the ballpark, it's so huge for so many companies on so many different fronts. And it's just going to help them make a lot more money over the coming years and make it more of a no-brainer product. So, I'm pretty excited, obviously, what they're up to there. I think it can be big. I think, obviously Shopify Pay is probably definitely one of their bigger competitors in the space overall. I would view them. I don't know if you have any thoughts about if anybody else is kind of a bigger competitor that can kind of fight PayPal here a little bit, other than Shopify Pay.
I mean, so what was quite exciting, to me at least, it made me more bullish just covering the fintech space on PayPal than ever. Was I was quite worried about Cash App's recent growth. Their growth has been
Mm.
unbelievable, and comparatively to Venmo, their growth rates have kind of way surpassed Venmo in terms of growth rates, not in terms of total user numbers, but in terms of growth rates. And they seem to have been that person that had captured an audience better. And then recently they've kind of gotten into like Cash App Pay, kind of that online checkout option that, if you're offering that to 80 million people, could be quite quite the offering.
Mhm.
That got picked up by Adyen, that got picked up by Stripe, that got picked up by Pay Near Me. So that could lead to a lot of merchant sales. However, I then just found out that Cash App kind of pulled out of their operations in their global sort of aspirations. They're pulled out of their EU aspirations, both on their buy now pay later side and their Cash App side. That's one thing that I think is proven to be so incredibly hard, is that globalization, right? Having people all over the world, and PayPal's already cracked that nut. Like, they already know how to have an extremely strong US base, extremely strong European, Asia Pacific regions that are all using PayPal. And I think that in terms of real competitors, I mean, I don't know. It's seemingly like a harder market than I thought that people could get into. Like, I really did think that Cash App had a real chance, and that pullout has kind of scared me.
Interesting. Yeah. No, that's interesting. Have you considered Square stock as a potential investment of yours, or not really?
I have, and then I pulled the trigger on that one. I'm still a shareholder.
Okay, you are still,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. How would you? Because obviously Square and PayPal came out with earnings within a few days of each other. How would you grade those two companies versus each other, since you're a shareholder of each?
Yeah. One is being valued like a value stock, and the other one's being valued as a growth stock. And Cash App completely is a growth stock,
Hmm.
like bar none. In the payment space, they and one of the things that I love about Cash App that is just seemingly across the board, it's not seeming like anyone else can do it. They're acquiring customers without offering anything. Like, they're going out of their way and getting direct deposit users and bringing over new clients, and they're just saying, hey, invite your friends. In
Hmm.
fact, if they have done acquisition costs, it's been like $5, $10 per
Yeah.
acquisition cost, versus in the financial companies that I look at, like SoFi, the acquisition costs can be $300-$400.
Hmm.
Cash App is acquiring customers not just for payments, but for lending. They do personal loans, they do direct deposit, they do all these sorts of things. They have the Cash App card that's extremely popular, and they acquired that customer for next to nothing, right? The growth rates on Cash App is just truly insane. The only big problem with that acquisition, and if it doesn't turn around, I'm going to sell, is Jack Dorsey's inability to offer his employees anything other than stock-based compensation. Even with
That's
Twitter, I
true.
mean, this guy loves to dilute.
Yep, it is so true.
Yeah,
That's
so
hilarious. Yep.
his even now they said they were going to cut back on stock-based compensation. They're going to really tighten their belt. That was what they were talking about last quarter and this quarter as well, and
Yeah.
it's still increasing. Even as a percentage of revenue, it's increasing. So
Wow.
talk is one thing, actually doing it is another, and he's just not seeming to tighten that belt.
Yeah, in newer shareholders, that's something that tricks a lot of newer shareholders. So they might see a stock price, and the stock price says the same number as it used to say, and they're like, "Oh, that's a deal, right?" And then you all of a sudden look and see how many shares are outstanding now, and it's like, "Oh my gosh, there's a lot more shares outstanding now." So if there's any positive EPS, it's worth, or excuse me, if there's any positive net income, it's worth a lot less because there's a lot more shares on the market, obviously, and now it has to be divided by a lot more shareholders. So yeah, that's a really
Eh,
good point.
well, vice versa for PayPal, right? Is and whenever you're comparing them to the share price that they were before, it's like they've been buying shares. Like they're
Mhm.
taking shares off the table,
Yeah,
and that's not looking like it's going to slow down at all.
exactly. And like I said, when it comes to PayPal, Venmo, if they really want to grow users, like that's there for them. Because
Mhm.
I see the way Cash App grows users. It's just a question of, are you growing users to grow users, or are you growing users because these people are actually going to be profitable folks and they're not just trying to get a free 5, $10 or whatever
Right,
by
right.
utilizing that. So that's kind of my thought process there. And it seems like definitely Venmo and PayPal have strengths in certain demographics, in certain maybe income classes, and it seems like Cash App has strengths in others. And so we'll see how the battle wages on. But yeah, PayPal's certainly the easier buy, the one you can sleep better, I guess, at night. If you buy either one of those stocks, I feel like PayPal's just so much easier. You buy it, throw it in the filing cabinet, and you sleep on it. And it's not going to keep you awake at night. Squares, maybe, a little more risky. I don't think Square's a super high risk stock nowadays. It might have been when the valuation was very different. But,
Yeah,
it was interesting. Something you mentioned a minute ago about, where PayPal's at now. You think like PayPal's a much stronger company today at $60 a share or whatever it is, 60 something dollars a share than it was back when the stock was $300 a share.
yeah.
And that's a pretty rare thing that you could get a stock to drop, peak to trough of that much. And the company's actually in a far stronger position than they were previously, which just kind of speaks volumes to, especially once the CEO gets announced and we know the vision and what's going on here, the move could be a pretty large move for not just months or quarters. It could be a move for years in terms of the overall stock price.
Well, so and maybe I can share my screen. There's something that I think also should calm some investors as well, and that's PayPal. Like if we actually look back to the whenever PayPal really fell off their peak was whenever they tried to acquire Pinterest. They made this
I remember that.
massive, massive play towards Pinterest. I think it was what, like a 40 something billion-dollar acquisition, something along these lines. Like it was very
Mm,
aggressive. And people were not quite excited about that purchase. That was going to be a lot of dilution.
yep.
And now PayPal's strategy throughout history has been a lot of acquisitions, some good and some bad, but in my opinion, mainly good. That's what's gotten us Braintree, Venmo, these sorts of things. Honey, I'm even a big fan of their Honey acquisition,
Mm,
right? Um, but I don't know if people would have been ready to, purchase PayPal or sorry,
Pinterest.
Pinterest. Now,
Yeah.
the exciting part for me, at least, is PayPal lately has been kind of doing things on their own. You even see it in their research and development costs and these sorts of things. They've been doing things more organically. If we look here, just even in recent years and quarters, right? PayPal in this yellow bar that I really want to focus on, you can see how PayPal has been kind of trying to do things more in their own speed lately. And that's been leading to much more investment into things like share repurchases, right? You're kind of getting more of a PayPal style company, like you know what you're buying, and you don't have to worry too much about buying this company and then them taking all your capital and just going and purchasing some other business. Like
Mhm.
what percentage of your purchases today in PayPal would have just been purchasing Pinterest, that diversification. Um, so you look at it with buy now, pay later. They built that all in house. It's doing amazing. I think they're third in the marketplace globally for that. All built in house. They didn't have to acquire anyone. They did actually acquire a buy now, pay later solution in Japan exclusively, but it was a very small purchase. Overall, PayPal's trying to do some things on their own, and that's why I see you highlighted on your videos the innovations for PayPal, like them trying new things and getting better is is ramping, like they're doing it much more often. So
Yeah. It,
yeah,
and
I
one of
find this to be a
the
very good statistic. Sorry, go ahead.
well, one of the things I think is, where a company like PayPal gets disrespected or misunderstood is in the context of a lot of people think like what they do is easy and you can just replicate it. And obviously, what they're trying to do at X, Elon Musk dealio there, right? And we're going
Yeah,
to do all this stuff. When you actually try to build the products and you actually try to get this stuff out in the marketplace, and folks find out this is much more difficult than it sounds when you talk about it. And we're going to allow all these people to pay this way and do this and do that, and then you actually do it, and it's like, oh gosh, like you just spoke about, obviously with Square, and you were speaking about them pulling out some business out of the EU and
right.
whatnot. It's like when you actually get into it, it's like, geez, you really need a lot of engineers, a lot of top engineers, and a great strategy, and know how to execute and put all these pieces together. It's not just a simple, we can just do all this. It sounds like it is, but then you actually
Yeah.
get into it and you realize it's not. It's a process.